Not a problem. So my name is Daniel Gibson. I was born and raised in Nassau, Bahamas. I am the president of the Stratos Group, which is a full service of whether faith-based organizations or churches, nonprofits, anything to do surrounding the church. So my first degree, I went to college literally by God's grace. And the first year was rough. It was an adjustment. But my last 3 years, and I did extremely well, graduated with 3.0. But this has been the common factor. And so, like that was kind of catch on to at a decent point, but a lot of things just changed so quickly. And so they were supportive in the conversation. Not traditional, I think, therapy or, addressing it as a mental health issue.
Welcome to the Unfiltered Minds podcast, the only culturally diverse podcast where we discuss ways to destigmatize mental health, as well as promote self-seeking behaviors amongst our youth and family members struggling with ADHD or depression. Now, here's your host, Jane Levy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unfiltered Mind podcast. This is the platform where we discuss ways to destigmatize mental health, as well as promote self-help seeking behaviors amongst our youth and their family members. We are super excited to have our guest speaker for today. Mr. Gibson is the president of the Stratos Enterprise. Welcome, Mr. Gibson.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, right. That's right. Can you give our guests a little bit of background history about you?
Not a problem. So my name is Daniel Gibson. I was born and raised in Nassau, Bahamas. I am the president of the Stratos Group, which is a full-service public relations, event and brand management agency based in Atlanta, Georgia. I have both of my undergrad and graduate degrees in communication. I'm also preparing to do another degree in the fall in divinity. And so my business is really based around faith-based PR and faith-based businesses, although I do work with other clientele, but that is the core, the heart, and the soul of my business.
So when you say faith-based PR, what do you do? What does that entail?
This really entails representing people of faith, people who have strong faith backgrounds, who are either entrepreneurs or whether they're faith-based organizations or churches, nonprofits, anything to do surrounding the church, or in my case, more or less Christianity.
It's wonderful. I saw that you were also featured as one of the 5 upcomers to watch in the PR space. Is that correct?
Yes. By PR on the go, they are.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, Daniel, we're going to talk about mental health and grieving today, but I wanted you to tell us a little bit about your background, because we're going to talk about your lows and your highs here. Let's talk about your academic struggles. I read about you. You struggled throughout high school, and now you own your own business. Let's talk about that experience.
So, yeah, no problem. I would say actually like the 5th grade, 4th, 5th grade is kind of when my parents really noticed that there were some issues. And so they moved me from a larger school to a smaller school just to see if that environment would work better. And that did work, while I finished my primary school year, so until 6th grade. And in the 7th grade, I returned to a larger school. But I still seemed to always just kind of struggle at the end of the school year. The semester would be fine. I would do well, I would maintain, but exam time kind of brought on some, I guess now you can call it anxiety. I just kind of got flustered and just didn't work out. And so that kind of happened all through high school. Although I graduated, it was just a constant struggle year to year trying to figure out what the actual issue is, how to work through it. So I did tutoring, I did therapy, anything to try and just kind of figure out what the issue was. Never really figured it out, but then by the grace of God, I made it through and was able to get to the next level, which is going to college.
Yeah, and then so you obtained 2 degrees, is that correct?
Yes. So my first degree, I went to college literally by God's grace, and the first year was rough. It was an adjustment, but my last 3 years, and I did extremely well. Graduated with a 3.8 GPA, and then took a year off to work, and then went back to my master's and did extremely well again, and took a year break, and now preparing to do another master's degree.
What an amazing journey. Thank you for sharing that.
It's been a journey, but it's definitely been rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, I see that. So today we're going to talk about mental health and grieving. Tell us a little bit about your grief. You lost your mother, is that correct?
Yes, last August, after 10 years, my mother lost her battle to breast cancer, and it's been a change. It's been a life change, and I've had to obviously in my grief figure out what's next. And so I'm sure we get into it, but just every day trying to figure out I wake up, what's next for today, what's next for the agenda, just trying to readjust to life without her, and figuring out things that she would have played a big role in. How do I continue doing those things, and, making sure that to keep her legacy alive, make sure she's proud, and make sure I'm keeping her, at the forefront of my mind at all times, and keeping those memories alive.
Yeah, because part of that healthy grieving, it's really learning to redefine life without that deceased person.
Yeah, it's
I'm
definitely it's a
sorry, Daniel, to
change.
hear that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
So, how did that affect your mental health in general?
It really just threw me for a loop. Really, I didn't really realize I was spiraling down until I spiraled. Things, my social life changed, my eating habits changed, my sleep habits changed, my work ethic changed, um, but gradually. And so it kind of caught me by surprise a little bit at the end. But I realized, wait, a lot of things have happened, but this has been the common factor. And so, like, that's what kind of catch on to at a decent point, but a lot of things just change so quickly. And you don't realize because you're just so caught up in the emotion how quickly life is going, continues to go on day to day. And my life was going on day to day, but I wasn't living it in the day to day.
I know, I'm sorry. With that said, what are some of the most important qualities? Did you go for therapy, first of all?
So I had actually started therapy before my mom passed.
Okay.
Just because I just recently moved to a new city, I recently graduated my master's. So I just was kind of going through like just a little bit of a life change. I just turned 25, and so I just wanted to kind of start transitioning my mind and my life into the second stage of my 20s. And so that's really prompted the therapy. And it just, I guess, was convenient that I was in it while my mom transitioned. Um, but I definitely increased my sessions I went from going once a month to 2 or 3 times a week.
So, when you were looking for a therapist, how did you vet that therapist, and what are some of the important qualities you were looking for in in a therapy?
I really didn't have any. For me, there was an app that I used to find therapists in my area, and
Hmm.
I just kind of I read through people's bios, read the accolades and all the reviews and stuff. And I realized, dang, I can read these all day. I just need to pick somebody. Pick somebody. If it works, like if the shoe fits, it fits. If not, I'll come back and find somebody else. And so I really just picked this person who was near where I was living at the time, and went to see her, and we hit it off, and it went from there.
That worked out for you because sometimes, a lot of times, we want to go to a therapist that look like us, culturally diverse, right? But there's not too many black and brown therapists around. So I always like to ask my guests to see what qualities they were looking for when they were looking for therapists. But it seems like for you, it worked out for you the first time.
For me, it was more about the connection, just having the
Hmm.
raw connection where I can be vulnerable, be comfortable in the space. And so I chose someone based off really off of emotion, off of how I felt that I think they would feel based on what I read in their profile.
That empathy, somebody that has that empathy that can feel what you're actually going through as well. Very important.
I was looking for someone who was
Yeah.
empathetic, but someone who also pushed me. Because I didn't want to
Yes.
stay in the place that I was, and so I don't want to go somewhere where every session was just me pouring out. I wanted to be poured into as well. I wanted to be challenged to get out of whatever state I was in or whatever level I was at. And so that was also a big part of it as well.
Did you ever consider grief support groups?
I have not. I have briefly, and I
Okay.
did do one at a church in Atlanta, but it just wasn't really for me. Just wasn't really my speed. It just wasn't something I enjoyed the content, but I just wasn't. Sometimes you just want to be able to grieve in your own way, shape, or form. I think for me, coming from a
Yeah.
large family that's still grieving, that's kind of my group, that's my support group, and so I think I needed a time and space for me to be able to do it on my own.
That's wonderful. That family support is always good. Not a lot of people that do have that support, but when you have that family of friends around, it really do help in those moments like this.
So I would say my family's been very um, as supportive as I guess they could be in this process. Going through it, I realized how much of an impact my mother had on people, and so as I grieve, I'm realizing now how much other people are grieving. Friends, family, even colleagues, and still are grieving. This is my first time being home since her funeral, and it's being out and about and seeing people for the first time. Because I was here during the funeral, I kind of came in and left, and so this is kind of out and about, and just to kind of hear people still reminisce, and you can see the hurt and the grief. You can see the grief still on people, and so it's been like I said, it's kind of been like a village of support, but at the same time, it's also been a group journey. Like we're all kind of getting through it together.
It's a process, but I trust the process. God would definitely see you through. Do you feel like you hide your grief, or are you grieving openly or honestly?
I think I'm 50-50 with it. I think for the most part, I feel like I hide the dark times. And the heavy moments, I think I hide. But the lights, the surface level grief, I share. I'm open to conversation. But in my deepest, darkest kind of really emotional times, very very few people have access to that.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's tempting to hide your feelings to avoid that embarrassing yourself or making others feel uncomfortable. But sometimes it's also good to talk to someone. Like you said, you come from a very big family, so you always have that support around, which is great. Thank you for sharing that. What is your most fond memories of your mother?
I mean, there's so many. But I know particularly when I went off to school, um, my mother would make it a point to come and visit at least once a semester. And particularly, she really enjoyed coming to homecoming. And I got to the point where I would laugh because I would just say, it was like, this was her school. So she was an alum of my institution. And she would come and have her blue and orange
Mm-hmm.
on and want to go to all the festivities. And she really enjoyed that. We really enjoyed our time, sharing that. She hung over with my friends, and that was like our time. It was just only be her. And my sister was in school in Hampton, and my dad would stay home. And so it really allowed us, she and I, to really have some, I would say, adult bonding time. Um, those would be my most recent, most fond ones, but my entire life we've made memories. Every little thing that she and I did, whether it was a conversation, whether it was even an argument, we've always found our own way to connect. Um, so they're definitely memories for a lifetime, but I would say her making the effort, like commitment to coming to see me, making the journey to come and see me in bed, but at least 2 weeks with me meant a lot, particularly in my academic journey.
And she was also a good cook, right? She was in the food industry.
Yes, she was the manager for culinary tourism, which oversaw anything to culinary in the country. So that was her role. She loved it. That was her thing. So yes, very good cook. So yes, I definitely enjoy when she came. The meals, and even if it wasn't a meal, if we went out, it was went to a restaurant, but like for a reason to try something or to see a technique or to meet with a chef. And so just having exchange those experiences with her as well.
So, what was your favorite meal that she cooked? You always knew when Daniel was coming, she will have that meal ready for you.
My favorite meal, I don't really know. I mean, I love breakfast, so definitely she knew tuna and grits was like on the menu for sure. Chicken sauce until I learned how to make it myself, but definitely like tuna and grits, corned beef and grits was like our breakfast staples. Those were like definitely on the menu.
Nice. So, Daniel, I am originally from West Africa, Sierra Leone, and mental health is not something really we talk about in the homes. Was your mother or your family open to talking about mental health with you and your siblings growing up?
I would say they were without calling it mental health. I think it was just for them, us being open and willing to having conversations with them. My parents, always made sure that we knew that we could come to them with anything, no matter the consequence. But they want to make sure that they knew that they'd opened up policy where that whatever was on your heart, whatever
Hmm.
was bothering you, to come and talk to them about it. Um, and so I would, they were supportive in the conversation. Now, traditional, I think therapy or addressing it as a mental health issue came later on as my sister and I, my siblings and I became more exposed to that, and as we went in school, those specific words or lanes, they were like, okay, let's have a mental health check in, or are you doing therapy, and those kind of stuff. And even when we started, it was kind of a shock, like, oh, you're doing this, but they understood, and they
Hmm.
were as supportive as I expected them to be.
That's nice. Let's talk about your friends and family. How have that helped you heal with your healing process, the support that you got from them? How is that helping you in their healing journey?
It's funny that I tell my friends all the time that eh, they're grieving more than me. We laugh about it sometimes, but like I say, it's been a group journey. My friends also have been very traumatized and very hurt by my mother's passing. So they have their moments and their days where they're overwhelmed and they're hurting and they need my support. And I have my days where I'm overwhelmed, I'm hurting, I need their support. So my friends, it's literally we take it day by day. My family, we take it day by day, and we just try to be as supportive and be there for one another as best as we can. Unfortunately, for my family, we're all in separate places. So my brother and father in the Bahamas, and my sister and I in Atlanta had to. So it's kind of hard sometimes for us to really know what's going on or how each other is doing. Um, but for the most part, we're kind of we're making it. We're making it. I won't say that every day is perfect. I won't say that we're 100% again, but I think we're at a place where my mother would be okay with the way that we're moving on.
I'm sure she's proud. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. I think her biggest thing was
Yeah.
for us that we continue living life and we continue doing the things that make us happy.
What is life like now when she's not around for you and your siblings?
It is so different. It is so different. I would talk to her every day, and so going from not being able to talk to her, from talking to her every day, to not talking to her at all, it's so different. I mean, yes, you talk to dad, I talk to dad all the time, but it's just obviously it's different having a conversation with your mother. The advice is different. The love is different. Um, so it's just really, I think it's been a big adjustment. Just trying to figure out who's that person, who's going to be that person now. Who do I confide in? Who do I on that level? Who's going to give me the motherly love? Um, and it's something that I didn't realize I would be seeking or would have to seek at such a young age. But life is very different.
Is there anything you can say to someone right now who is grieving the loss of a loved one?
You just have to allow it to come out, allow it to flow, allow however it comes, just let it come. And, you may be embarrassed. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sure I embarrassed myself one or two times during the process, but it's for you. Your process is for you, and don't let anyone tell you how long to grieve. But the key is to keep moving. Even while you're grieving, keep on going. Don't let grief overwhelm you to the point where you stop living. Um, and that is just the best I could say. Like I say, it never gets. People say it gets better with time. It does not get better with time because that person is gone forever. And so time is not going to, quote unquote, heal all wounds. It's just, time is just going to, time is going to surpass. And you have to
Yeah.
decide what you're going to do with your time. Are you going to time surpass, or are you going to let time catch up with you.
Thank you for that words of encouragement. And you're a busy guy. You own businesses, busy with church activities. What do you do for self-care?
I disconnect. And I turn off my phone, and that's that. When my phone is off, it's a wrap. It's You don't know where Daniel is, you know what Daniel's doing, and I'm okay with that. I may be at the spa, maybe getting a manicure, pedicure, maybe getting a facial, getting a haircut. I always try to find, even during my day, just a regular day, I have scheduled time the other day just for, I call it take time for Jesus, but it's self care. Where I just have some quiet time, no
Yeah.
devices. It's 30 minutes, in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening, just silence. And I allow that time for my body to rest, allow God to speak, allow my atmosphere to be cleansed of just busyness, and just rest and just kind of be in the moment for a second. And then I just try to enjoy time with my family, with my sister, who's in Atlanta with me, and my friends, and do things that, like I said, will make me happy because I know that's what my mother wanted me to do.
Well, Daniel, we want to thank you so much for your time. As somebody's watching this today and they want to reach you for some PR work, how can they reach you?
So for PR work, my social media, all platforms, is the Strategist PR. And if there's anyone who's grieving, who's want to talk, or wants advice or support how to get through it, they can also message me. My platform on Instagram is Daniel J. Gibson. And my Facebook is Daniel Jared, J-R-O-D, Alexander Gibson. And I'm open to doing both. I want to thank you, Jane, as well, for having me.
My pleasure. Anything else you want to add before we close?
No, I really hope that this conversation really blesses somebody in their healing process, or ignites a healing process in somebody who's grieving.
Amen.
Or I want people to know that this is not a pity party. This is not for someone to feel sorry for me, or to be to be crying for me. 'Cause I've cried, and I've cried. I've screamed, driven around the city, like lost. And I've done it all. So this is not for me. This is for the next person who's going through this to be free, to be set free from grief. Because I know that grief can have a chokehold on people sometimes, and we have to move on. We have to live life. Because the person who we lost, they've gone to be, but hopefully, with God, and we want to see them someday. So we have to continue living our life in a way that we're prepared to see God as well, see God in love.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel. On behalf of the Unfiltered Mind podcast, we want to amazingly thank you for your time, and we hope that what you have shared today will resonate with some of our viewers and our listeners, and just be able to give them hope. You know what I mean? We want people to be able to strive, and we want as many representation on this platform. We want to share our story so people know that they're not alone. And thank you so much. And we wish you and your family best of luck. And please do not leave. I'm going to end this now and come talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Unfiltered Minds podcast. If you love what you're learning on our podcast, we ask that you please join the Unfiltered Minds community by subscribing and sharing our podcast on YouTube, or you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Our dedicated team of ADHD coaches are committed to making a positive impact on the lives of our listeners. Through our thought-provoking podcast, we offer valuable resources, PBT training for ADHD, and a supportive community that understands the journey of mental health challenges. Also, you can visit our website at theunfilteredminds.com, where you can sign up to be a guest on our podcast, as well as sign up for our 8-week parent behavior training course on ADHD.